All right, we're going to shift our attention to the United States. The Democrats' Iowa Caucus last night, well, what a circus that was. I mean, they haven't even been able to report the full results yet. Only 62% of results are showing through, with Pete Buttigieg, oh God, it's a hard name, I'll get to that in a moment, and Bernie Sanders, well, he's close behind Buttigieg. The Australian's foreign editor wouldn't have those issues with the name. Greg Sheridan, he joins me now from Melbourne to discuss all of this.
Hey, Peter, great to be with you.
It's a difficult name. What's his origins?
Buttigieg, I don't know what his ethnic origins are, but he's the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and he's a big winner out of this, although the guy who got the most votes was Bernie Sanders. I mean, this is a very weird caucus system.
This is a caucus as opposed to a primary, isn't it? Just remind people the difference.
Well, in a caucus system, you go to various meetings in a town hall, you declare who you're for, it's not a secret ballot, it's open. A candidate who doesn't get 15% of the voters in that town hall, they get to redistribute that bottom 15%, or those candidates who don't get 15%, those folks can redistribute themselves.
Almost a bit like preferences, and they literally move around a hall too, don't they, physically?
They do, and then the proportion of delegates is not based on the proportion of votes, but on the proportion of districts that you win. It's byzantinely complex. One thing out of it, Peter, I don't know how you'd feel about this as a professional political person, but just shows to me the overwhelming superiority of voting with a pencil and a piece of paper. They're computer apps.
What's the app? Tell me about the app.
Yeah, well, the app just failed. And look, I don't want to get the sack from the Australian, but how many times have newspapers been through the misery of updating their flaming computer systems only to find that the deadlines get earlier, you spend all your life fighting with the computer, and you yearn for the old days when you worked on an East German typewriter and yelled copy at the end of every tape. But this app was a disaster. This is a very good result for Donald Trump. This is a great week for Donald Trump. The result showed the Democrats are incompetent. They want to run the country. They can't count a few votes in Iowa. It's a fragmented result. 4 Democrats got better than 15%. Nobody got much over 25%. The 5th got nearly 15%, and Bloomberg hasn't even entered yet. So that's good for Trump. The fragmented result probably helps Bernie Sanders because he's got this loyal base of 25 or 30% of Democrats who are going to stick with him no matter what. And Sanders is certainly the candidate Trump would want to run against. And what a wonderful contrast. Trump came out today with his State of the Union. The first half he was channeling Ronald Reagan. The second half he was a bit more aggressive, but it was still very disciplined and focused. And what a great contrast. There's him describing how he's got the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, and the poor old Democrats can't count their votes in an Iowa town hall.
It was an impressive speech, wasn't it? An hour and 20 minutes long. There was a kerfuffle at the start. Nancy Pelosi tore up his remarks because he allegedly, and I've seen a bit of footage, it looks like he didn't want to shake her hand. So that plays in probably to both their bases out of this. But you're right. Just back on the Democrats, where would you rank them now, leaving the Iowa caucus?
It's totally confused. Pete Buttigieg, both Barack Obama and Bill Clinton were not expected to win their primaries, and they were rank outsiders. So, and both Obama and Trump had no political achievements before they came to office. So, Pete Buttigieg is 38. He's got no relevant experience to be a president, and he might catch fire. And Joe Biden, who looked as though he was going to be Trump's strongest challenger, came 4th. So he's in a lot of trouble. He's got to recover in New Hampshire. He feels that he's got a strong showing in some big states to come, South Carolina. But if he looks like a loser, if he comes in 4th again after New Hampshire, then he evaporates. Where do his votes go? Do they go to Pete Buttigieg, the new centrist? Do they go to Mike Bloomberg? I like Amy Klobuchar. Elizabeth Warren is fading. Bernie Sanders is beating her. So Bernie is in his late 70s. He had a heart attack a couple of weeks ago.
That's right. Yeah.
He's the American Jeremy Corbyn. He took his honeymoon in the Soviet Union during the Cold War. He describes himself as a socialist. Nobody is unelectable. Trump showed us that. But this is the candidate of Trump's dreams, and he's got to be as well placed as any of them. The field is really wide open.
Well, of course, Bernie Sanders would get the base presumably to turn up, but it would very much get the Trump base to move back into the fight because, I mean, one of the issues was with the economy doing so well, how's he going to motivate them to turn out? The impeachment, I think, has been a key part in that for Trump. Interestingly, in the speech today, the address to the Union, our State of the Union, he didn't mention the word impeachment at all. Where's that going to play out?
Well, the impeachment is a net plus for Trump. It's not as big a plus as some Conservatives think, because a lot of people vote for Trump because of his rough personality, but a lot of people vote for him in spite of his rough personality. And the impeachment reminds people of things they don't like about Trump. But it was plainly cynical, plainly ridiculous. I think Trump behaved badly in Ukraine, but it is ludicrous to suggest this justifies annulling the 2016 election, making him the first president ever thrown out of office. So the Democrats constantly show to voters that they are just as cynical, just as tawdry as Trump. Trump has the advantage that at least he gets things done. And so I think the impeachment helps Trump, the Iowa caucus helps Trump, and his State of the Union helps Trump. Trump very cleverly did not mention impeachment, did not mention Iowa caucus. It's as if he learnt a new dialect today, which is discipline, subtlety, indirection. There was a wonderful sort of reality TV innovation in the speech. I mean, Ronald Reagan was the first to really start pointing to people in the audience and say, look at Sergeant Rodriguez, isn't he a great guy? So Trump today was like an Oprah Winfrey show in a part. You know, guess what, ma'am, your husband's at war. Oh, well, we brought him home. You win the big prize. And guess what, little girl, you get a scholarship today. I mean, it was very much like those Oprah Winfrey shows where she gives people a car in the audience.
That gives it some sort of currency at night to make its way through social media and the newses for all the people that would normally watch a congressional State of the Union addressed by a president.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
It makes it sticky, the content sticky.
And all the people in the first part of the speech that he recognised were either African American or Hispanic. Now, last time I think he got 30% of the Hispanic vote. If he gets 40% this time, and if he increases his African American vote from 11 to 15, he's home and hosed. He's won. Now, November the 2nd is a long way off, so you can't predict anything. But this is the best week Trump has had politically, I think, since he was elected. And he looks like the adult. He looks like a fox, and the Democrats look like a bunch of startled hens running around the chicken coop, terrified of the big fox.
Well, it's going to be a big year. We'll watch it all closely. It is only February. It's American politics, and Donald Trump's in the mix. Anything can happen. Greg Sheridan, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks a lot, Peter.